Hey you, and welcome back to the deep dive. Tell me, does this sound familiar? You're watching an English movie, maybe you understand pretty much everything, you might even get the jokes. But then, when you actually need to speak, it feels like your brain just hits a wall and all those words just disappear.
Yeah, absolutely. That is such a common feeling.
Yeah.
You are definitely not alone if that happens to you.
Yeah.
It feels like there's this gap, doesn't it, between understanding English and, well, speaking it confidently.
Yeah, like you have all the right ingredients in the kitchen.
But you can't quite figure out how to bake the cake.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, today we're not just going to, talk about the problem. We're diving into 10 really practical and hopefully actually fun strategies to get those words flowing. Think of this as your go-to guide for unlocking your spoken English.
Yeah, and the great thing is we're not going to get bogged down in super complicated grammar rules or just endless lists of vocabulary words. The focus today is really on practical things you can actually do in your everyday life, things to build that speaking confidence.
Okay, let's jump right in. So our first strategy is all about how you take English in. Instead of trying to force yourself to memorize every single new word, think about it more like, absorbing the language.
Absorbing, that's a really good way to put it. Think about it. How did you learn your first language? You didn't start with textbooks and grammar rules, did you?
Definitely not.
No. You listened. You watched people talking. That's absorption, happening totally naturally. And the interesting thing is, our brains are still wired up to learn that way.
Right. So instead of just, hitting the vocabulary lists hard, try surrounding yourself with real English. Like, watch cooking shows, follow vloggers talking about stuff you actually like, maybe even check out, dance tutorials.
Yeah, but in English.
In English, of course.
The key thing here is finding content that you genuinely find interesting. If you love cooking, maybe someone like Jamie Oliver, he has tons of videos that are really engaging. Or if you're into travel, find a travel vlogger whose trips look cool to you.
When you care about the topic, learning just feels easier. Okay, so here's a little challenge for you listening. Just try to watch one short video, maybe from a YouTuber you like, every single day, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes. It really can add up.
And while you're watching, here's a little pro tip. Don't just sit there passively listening. If you hear a word or a phrase that sounds interesting, hit pause. Try saying it out loud. So if they're cooking, maybe it's words like boil or delicious or like mix it up. It helps your mouth actually get used to making those English sounds.
That's interesting because you're not just hearing the word itself, you're also picking up on the natural pronunciation, right? And the rhythm of how people talk and those little everyday phrases that, textbooks often just miss out.
Exactly. It's like getting a feel for the music of the language.
Music of English, I like that.
It's about building that kind of gut feeling, that intuitive sense for how English actually sounds. Which actually leads nicely into our second tip, taking inspiration from the very beginning of language learning, learning like a baby.
Learn like a baby. Okay, that sounds messy, maybe a bit silly. Tell me more.
Well, think about how babies learn to talk, right? They spend so much time just listening to all the sounds around them. And then eventually they start trying to copy those sounds, often just repeating them over and over and over. It's all about imitation.
Okay, I think I see where you're going. So you mean the pressure's off, I don't need to speak perfectly right away?
Absolutely not. At this stage, the main thing is just training your ears to hear the sounds of English and getting your mouth used to making them. Don't stress about perfect grammar just yet. It's more about getting comfortable with the basic building blocks of the sound.
So what kind of baby activities are we talking about here? Should I start babbling at my computer?
No, not quite babbling. A fun thing you could try is watching a really simple kid's cartoon. Something like Peppa Pig, maybe. Or Dora the Explorer. The language they use is usually super clear, it's simple, and very repetitive. Perfect for learners.
Peppa Pig. Okay, I think I can probably handle some Peppa Pig. What should I actually do while I'm watching? Besides maybe wanting a snack.
No snacks required.
Yeah.
Just try repeating some of the easy phrases the characters use, things like, let's play, or I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. Got it.
It might feel a little weird at first, I get that. But remember how babies learn? It's that repetition?
Yeah.
Doing that helps your brain start recognizing common sentence patterns automatically.
I can just imagine myself. Oink, oink, I'm hungry.
But seriously, the powerful thing here is that repetition. It really helps your brain lock onto those patterns in the language, almost without you thinking about it. You don't need to consciously analyze the grammar rules. It's like building the foundation.
Okay. I'm willing to embrace my inner toddler. What's tip number 3 then?
This next one is a bit more of a mental workout. It's about starting to actually think in English.
Ooh, think in English. That sounds challenging. How do you even start doing that? My thoughts always seem to pop up in my first language first.
Yeah, it takes practice, for sure. But you can start really small, with just everyday thoughts. So instead of thinking, say, I'm tired in your first language, and then kind of mentally translating it, try to have that thought directly in English. I'm tired.
Okay.
It might feel a bit slow or clunky at first, but just stick with it.
Right, and maybe start labeling things around me.
Exactly. Look at a chair, think red chair. Notice the weather, think it's sunny today, or, oh, my coffee is cold. You're building those direct links between the thing and the English word for it.
I like that idea. It's like creating little English zones in my head.
Yeah.
So instead of seeing a ventana and then thinking window, I just see it and think window.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And if you want to take it a step further, you could even try keeping a little thought journal. Nothing fancy. Just jot down short English phrases that pop into your head during the day, like need to study or pizza time, simple stuff.
So what's the real payoff here? Why go through the effort of trying to think in English? It does sound kind of hard.
Well, the interesting thing is, by making this mental shift, you actually start to speed up your speaking a lot because you cut out that extra step, right? That step of translating everything in your head first.
Ah, the translation delay.
Exactly. That's often what causes those awkward pauses and the ums and goudas when you're trying to speak. Thinking directly in English makes your responses much quicker, more immediate.
That makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, I'm convinced. Tip number 4.
This one is all about using real English. You know, not just the super formal kind you might find in an old textbook.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like the difference between saying, might I inquire as to the location of the restroom versus just, where's the toilet?
Exactly that. While, okay, formal English has its place, right? But everyday conversations, they're usually much more relaxed, much more casual. So it's really, really helpful to learn how people actually talk in just normal, informal situations.
Okay, so where can I find this real English? Because you're right, sometimes my lessons feel a bit stiff.
Watching those daily life vloggers on YouTube can be great for this. Or even short videos on platforms like TikTok. Just pay attention to the casual words they use, maybe some slang if you're comfortable with that, and just how they phrase things naturally.
Can you give me some examples? Like common everyday stuff I might not learn in class?
Sure. So instead of maybe, would you be interested in accompanying me for coffee? Well, you'll probably just hear, want to grab coffee.
Right. Much shorter.
Yeah. Or instead of saying, that statement is factually incorrect, someone might just say, no way.
Yeah.
Or, that's not right.
Okay.
And instead of a formal, I must take my leave now, it's often just, gotta go.
Gotta go. Those sound so much more natural, don't they? Like how people actually, talk.
Exactly. And using these kinds of expressions makes your English sound more natural, too. More modern, just more like how native speakers chat every day. It helps you connect better.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try and embrace some more casual English. What's strategy number 5?
This one is a really cool technique. It's called copy and customize.
Copy and customize. So like imitation again?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Think of it like shadowing, repeating what someone says, but you add your own little twist to it. So you find a short video or maybe an audio clip where someone's speaking English nice and clearly. Listen to a sentence or two. Then try to copy exactly what they said. Focus on their pronunciation, the rhythm, the intonation, even where they put the stress on words.
Okay, I get the copy part. Sounds like good practice. But where does the customize bit come in?
Right. So once you feel like you can repeat their sentence pretty accurately, maybe after a few tries, then you change just 1 or 2 words to make it your own. For example, maybe you're watching that cooking video again and the person says, now we add the eggs.
Okay.
You repeat that a couple of times. Now we add the eggs. Then you customize it. Maybe you say, now I'm adding onions. Or now we add the salt.
Ah, I see. So I'm basically borrowing their sentence structure in some words, but making it about what I'm doing or thinking.
Exactly. And the really interesting thing about this technique is, by focusing first on just copying the sound and the rhythm, you start to internalize how native speakers actually put sentences together, how they flow. Then, by customizing it, you're actively using that structure in a slightly new way, which really helps it stick in your brain.
That sounds like a really active way to learn. Practice and learning rolled into one. Okay, what's tip number 6?
Tip number 6 is maybe a bit unexpected. Talk like you text.
Talk like I text. My thumbs are practically professionals at texting. How does that help my speaking?
Well, think about how you communicate when you text your friends, right?
Yeah.
It's usually quick, it's simple, it's pretty direct.
Right.
You don't usually write long, formal paragraphs in texts, do you?
Definitely not. Short sentences. Lots of abbreviations sometimes.
Exactly. So the idea is, when you're speaking English, especially if you're feeling a bit nervous or stuck, try to use that same simple, direct approach. Don't feel like you have to use really complicated words or long, complex sentences all the time.
So instead of forcing out something like, I am currently experiencing a significant degree of fatigue, I could just say,
I'm tired.
I'm tired. Okay, much easier.
Precisely. Or instead of, would it be possible for you to inform me of the current time? Just, what time is it? The goal is just clear communication.
So the challenge here is to almost imagine I'm sending a quick voice note to a friend. What kind of things could I try saying out loud?
Yeah, just simple, everyday stuff. Hey, what's up? Let's eat. That movie was so good. Just say them out loud, kind of like you'd quickly type them on your phone.
What's the big benefit here? It almost feels too simple.
Well, the interesting thing is how much pressure it takes off. When you approach speaking more like texting, it just feels less scary, more like a casual chat. It encourages you to just get your thoughts out there without getting too tangled up worrying about perfect grammar or finding the absolute perfect word. It can really boost your confidence.
Okay, I can definitely try texting my way to better speaking. What's tip number 7?
Let's make things a bit more fun now. Tip number 7 is play speaking games.
Games? You mean like board games, but in English? Playing Monopoly in English sounds intense.
Well, you could, I suppose, if you enjoy that. But we're thinking more along the lines of quick, easy speaking activities, things you could do with a friend, maybe a language partner, or honestly, even by yourself sometimes.
Okay, intriguing. Give me an example of a speaking game I could try.
Okay, one that's quite fun is describe the object. Just look around you, pick a common object, but don't say what it is. Then try to describe it in English. So you might say, okay, it's usually soft, it can be different sizes, and you put your head on it when you sleep.
A pillow.
Exactly, a pillow. See, it makes you think fast and find the right English words to explain something clearly.
Oh, I like that. That forces you to use your vocabulary. Any other game ideas?
Another good one is 2 truths and a lie. Really simple.
Yeah.
You just say 3 things about yourself in English. 2 of those things are actually true, but one is a lie, and the other person or people have to guess which one is the lie.
Okay, that sounds fun too. And you learn interesting, maybe weird things about people.
Totally. So the main benefit of these games is just making the learning process more enjoyable.
Yeah, seems like it.
But what's really interesting is that when you're having fun, when you're focused on playing the game, you tend to be much less self-conscious about making mistakes. You're just trying to communicate, trying to win the game, or just trying to describe the pillow. That relaxed, low-pressure situation. It's perfect for building fluency and confidence without even really noticing you're doing it.
Okay, game on. I'm ready for number 8. What is it?
All right, this next one. Well, it might feel a little bit scary for some people at first, but trust me, it is incredibly effective for seeing improvement. Tip 8 is record yourself speaking.
Oh no, record myself. Hearing my own voice recorded is, well, it's not my favorite thing. It always sounds so weird, not like how it sounds in my head.
I know. So many people feel that way. It can definitely be a bit strange initially, but the benefits are huge. It lets you hear yourself kind of how other people hear you. You basically become your own pronunciation coach.
Okay, so what should I actually record myself doing? Reading a weather report.
Keep it simple to start. Try doing just a really short, maybe 30-second, maybe a minute voice diary entry about your day. Just talk normally about what you did, what you saw, how you felt, anything. Like, today I went to the park. It was sunny. I saw some ducks. Simple as that.
And then the hard part, I actually have to listen back to it. It still sounds a bit painful.
It might be a little uncomfortable the first time, yeah. But what's really interesting is how much you can actually learn from it. You'll probably notice little pronunciation things you didn't realize you were doing. Or maybe spots where you hesitate a lot or use the same filler word over and over.
Okay. So I can pinpoint my own problems.
Exactly. That awareness is the absolute first step to getting better. Then you know what to focus on in your practice. And you can even track your progress over time by comparing recordings later on. It's really motivating.
Okay. Okay. I'll try to be brave. I'll face my own voice recording. What's tip number 9?
Tip number 9 is all about harnessing the power of connection. Practice with a partner.
Right. That makes total sense. Actually, having a conversation with someone in English is a whole different ball game than just, talking to my reflection or recording myself.
It really is. Learning with someone else gives you motivation. You get different perspectives. You get real-time feedback, even if it's just them looking confused.
Hmm.
And it simulates actual real-world conversations.
So what kind of stuff should I do with a practice partner? Just chat about anything.
Yeah, keeping it simple and conversational is a great way to start. Maybe pick a topic you're both interested in: food, movies, travel, hobbies, whatever. And then just agree, okay, for the next, say, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we speak only in English.
But what if I don't really have someone nearby I can easily practice with face to face? Not everyone has an English-speaking friend just down the road.
That's a really good point. But there are tons of great options online these days. Things like language exchange apps or online conversation groups and meetups. They're fantastic for connecting with other learners or even native speakers who might be learning your language.
Oh, yeah, the exchange idea.
Exactly. And even just using voice notes when you're texting someone in English. That counts as valuable speaking practice, too.
So what's the specific benefit of practicing with someone else compared to just studying alone?
Well, what's really interesting is that dynamic interaction. You have to actively listen to understand what the other person is saying. Then you have to formulate your response pretty much in real time and navigate the natural back and forth of a conversation. It really pushes your speaking skills in a way that practicing alone sometimes can't quite replicate.
And you probably get used to different accents, too.
Definitely. Different accents, different ways of speaking. It's all good exposure.
Okay, finding a practice buddy, online or offline, is definitely going on my list. So what's our final tip? Number 10.
Our 10th and final tip today is maybe the most important one for confidence. It's about giving yourself permission to be imperfect. Tip 10 is make mistakes on purpose.
Wait, what? Make mistakes on purpose? That sounds totally wrong. Isn't the whole point to try and speak correctly?
It does sound a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? But the real idea here is to change how you feel about making errors. Instead of being terrified of mistakes, try to see them as just a normal, even necessary part of learning. And yeah, we're actually going to suggest you try making some silly low-stakes mistakes deliberately.
Like, oh, what? Should I just start using random words or messing up grammar just for fun?
Not exactly to confuse yourself. Think back to that silly sentence game we mentioned. Challenge yourself sometimes to just say the absolute weirdest, funniest sentence you can possibly think of in English. Something totally nonsensical, like, my cat wears sunglasses and drinks coffee at 7 a.m.
Okay, that's definitely a strange image. But how does saying silly stuff like that actually help me speak better English when I need to be serious?
Well, what's interesting is that by intentionally saying something a bit absurd, you take all the pressure off trying to be correct. You're just focusing on getting words out, playing with the language, having a bit of fun. And when you can actually laugh at your own silly sentences, it helps you relax. It builds confidence. And that relaxed feeling makes it so much easier to speak in more normal, everyday situations later on.
Ah, so it's about lowering the fear factor.
Exactly. Plus, sometimes those really memorable, silly sentences can actually help you remember new words or sentence structures in a fun way.
Okay, I think I'm ready to embrace my inner comedian and make some deliberate, nonsensical mistakes.
Excellent. So that brings us to the end of our 10 tips. Let's quickly recap what we've called our Speak Easy Fluency formula.
All right, hit me with the quick version. The 10 points.
Okay. 1. Absorb English from real life, don't just memorize. 2. Learn like a baby, listen and repeat. 3. Start thinking directly in English. 4. Use real, casual English, not just textbook stuff. 5. Copy what you hear, then customize it. 6. Talk simply, like you text. 7. Play speaking games to make it fun. 8. Record yourself to hear what you really sound like. 9. Practice with a partner for real interaction. And 10. Make mistakes on purpose and learn to laugh.
That is a fantastic set of strategies, really practical stuff. So for all of you listening right now, which one of these tips jumps out at you? Which one are you going to try first? We'd genuinely love to know.
Absolutely. Feel free to leave us a comment, or you can even send us a voice message sharing your thoughts or which tip you're trying. And just as a reminder, if you want a handy list of all these strategies, we put together a little free Speakeasy Fluency guide for you. You can download it. Just check the link in the description below this deep dive.
And please remember, you really don't need to be perfect to start speaking English more confidently and more fluently. Just pick one, maybe two of these tips that feel right for you. Start small, practice a little bit each day if you can, and most importantly, try to have some fun with it.
We really do believe you can do this. You can improve, you can become a more confident English speaker. It takes time, sure, and it takes some effort, but you absolutely can get there.
Thanks so much for diving deep with us today. Until our next exploration, goodbye for now.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep practicing.